welcome to Intuitive Living. I'm your host, Sylvia, and I'm here today with my guest, Lois Williams. Welcome, Lois.
Thank you.
So nice to have you.
Thank you.
Lois is a medium intuitive, and we're going to talk a little bit about manifesting and the different psychic senses. Welcome, Lois.
Thank you.
How are you today?
I'm really good.
Good. We go way back, right?
We do. We go back probably 15 to 20 years.
Yes, right. Lois actually was my very first opportunity. I just got done with aromatherapy certification in 2007, I think. Yeah. And you had a little store, well, kind of big store.
Yep.
The New Beginning in Hope Valley. And I don't know how I stumbled into you.
I don't know. I think
I just walked into.
I think that you were just led there, and you walked in, and we started chatting, and you told me you had aromatherapy and you were making products, and I had the store.
Yes.
So you came in,
and that was ever since.
That was the beginning.
Yes, pretty much where I started to offer my services to people at that point. Yeah.
And then I think we also did services, massage and readings and reflexology and Reiki. And I think that you did a chat on like how you see your colors. And
I believe so. Yes, I did. We did like workshops, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we did an aromatherapy workshop. And but I don't remember the colors, but I think. Yeah, probably I did.
Yeah, well, that's what you do. So you did.
So we want to talk a little bit about mediumship. What is a medium? How do you connect with deceased loved ones?
Okay, so I'm a medium. I connect usually when I'm going to be giving somebody a reading. The loved ones kind of come and find me and start sometimes following me around, which is not creepy, but you're making their presence known that they're there.
Yeah.
And then when I'm in session, I will call, if I don't see them automatically, I will call in the birth name. And I usually just need the first name.
Okay.
Unless there's a junior, then we want to be more specific, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But I usually call the birth name and they come in. And some are strong, like as you know.
Yes.
Some are stronger, some are easier to read, and some are a little tougher.
Right.
I read the big personalities pretty easy.
Do you feel like I feel like in my sessions, there's definitely, when I do the one-on-ones, I can sense when somebody, say a client, is not as open or they try to test me. So it's harder for me to kind of have that clear connection with that deceased loved one. Do you feel like that's definitely something
definitely.
you...
Yeah, I mean, if they're not 100% comfortable, then they're not open to read them as easy as if they were. It's more challenging.
Right. And I think sometimes even like when I'm in session, they don't even realize that they're not necessarily open to it. Like I have to make them aware, like, okay, why are you testing me?
Yeah, they don't know.
Right? It's almost, they're like, no, I'm not. I'm like, well, but you are.
Yeah.
And I try to kind of like make them aware. And once they kind of like aware and they let their guard down, that's when I feel like it flows.
It flows
better.
Much easier. It's not challenging. Right. It's challenging when they have their guard up because they just make it 10 times harder for us.
Absolutely, yes.
But if they could do a couple deep breaths, it kind of helps relax them a little bit more. And I always tell them, usually I'm a positive reader. I don't usually get anything negative.
Right.
I'm a positive person. I get positive information.
Right.
So there's nothing to be afraid of.
No. And even if there's something that's a little bit more dense, I feel like it's our job as a reader to give them tools and ideas how to change it around. Because nothing is really written in stone, right? So anything can change again. So if you're on a path that might be a little bit more challenging, it's up to me to give you tools and ideas to make that change for you.
Definitely.
And then it's your free will if you want to choose that, or if you want to stay where you want to be at that moment.
That's true. I mean, I think we all have lessons, but we can take the easy road or the hard road.
Right.
So we can change things, we are in control. I mean, there's certain things we have to experience because we signed up to experience them, right?
Yes.
But pretty much you can change things.
Right. Now you said you see them, right? So that would be the clairvoyance, going into like the psychic senses a little bit. So that would be clairvoyance like me. I see them, but I also feel them.
I also.
Sometimes they go right through me and it's like, what the heck?
So that's clairsentience. When you sense them, you sense I'm sensing, instead of seeing them, or maybe I'm not seeing them too clearly, but I'm sensing they're 78. I'm sensing it's a female, petite, older grandmother figure.
Right.
So you're kind of sensing what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, do you feel like talking about being, connecting with them and being a little bit more challenging at times, do you feel how deceased loved ones pass away will challenge?
Always. They always give me how they pass away.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
That's just for the client, so they know we're really connecting with them. Yeah.
Person. But do you feel like how deceased loved ones pass away challenges how they can connect with us? I mean, a suicide might be a little bit different than natural causes because a suicide might have still some shame and guilt attached. That does not mean they're never going to be absolutely at peace, but I feel there's certain energies that it's more challenging to make that connection because
it is challenging.
Yes.
If it's a negative experience.
Yes.
And they did something intentionally, that energy has to clear first, I believe.
Right.
They have to clear it out of their energy on the other side before they're totally pure and you can read them a little bit easier.
Right.
Or actually a lot easier.
And I just want to, for our viewers, to make sure, like I mentioned about suicide, and there's always that stigma attached. They're not going to find peace, or they're going to be a little bit more in that, stuck kind of energy. But from my experience, is absolutely not true. They just need a little bit more help from angels and guides, right? And then they do find that peace. They do find that, calmness, and can actually go and feel a little bit more relaxed about everything.
Yes, they do.
So I just want to make sure people know.
They just need a little bit. Yeah, they just need a little bit more time.
Right. Yeah. So going into the senses, psychic senses. I mean, I always say there's so many different ways of connecting, right? I have a lot of people in my sessions that come in and they're like, I'm sensitive, I'm intuitive, I would like to build up on this. And I always feel they have no idea what their main sense is, and that causes them to kind of feel not getting to that next level. So maybe we can talk a little bit about
exercise. So, which I would teach in some of my intuitive classes, is if you just close your eyes for a minute and kind of go back to one of your favorite experiences in life, and you just sit there, everybody, if you just close your eyes and you go back right now and just take it in for a minute. And then, did you see it first? Did you feel it first? Did you hear it first? So those are your top senses. Most people see and feel are their top two senses. Every once in a while I'll get a client that it's hearing, or a student that it's hearing, so I mean, that's easy when it's hearing, I think.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? I think it is.
It scares me.
Oh, does it? Oh, it doesn't scare me,
Like all of a sudden somebody talks to you, like, I don't know about that. I like to see it, like proof,
it could freak some people out. I always hear in my own voice, though. I don't usually hear it in a different voice. I hear it in my own voice. It's just not words I would speak. So that's how you know if you're clairaudient. So there's hearing is clairaudient. And then there's clairvoyant, which is seeing. And clairsentient, which is feeling. And then there's claircognizance, and that's just clear knowing. So
you just know.
Say you've never even heard of something before, but you know about it, and you know without a shadow of a doubt you're 100% right.
Absolutely, And I find that the hardest sense, psychic sense, because you don't have anything to go by. It's just deep gut feeling that you know this is a meal, you know what happened, and you just have to kind of relate that message at that moment. And I always feel, I don't know, I think it's a pretty challenging sense to work with. For me personally, But
I think a lot of people too, it just comes up on. You know what I mean? It's hard to develop. There's not many tools to develop it, because I think it's just one of those things that it just comes up on you, and you don't know when it's going to come up on you.
The gut feeling. I also find a really good tool to kind of find your main sense would be psychometry, right? Psychometry means touching an object of a person and then really kind of just sit with it and see how you get the information. I think it's a little bit more challenging with psychometry, because if you have an antique ring or jewelry, and you're gonna touch that, you might not get the energy from the person you're sitting across, but you might get the energy attached to the ring from previous owners, right? And then sorting that out might be a little bit more challenging.
Or passed down. So
Passed
are we
down,
talking
yes.
about the granddaughter, or are we talking about the grandmother, for instance?
So you want to make sure, like, you know that about that if you try practicing psychometry. But I always find that a very interesting way, very fun way to show my clients how they respond, how they get the information when I teach them any kind of intuitive development classes. So yeah.
You use that.
Yeah.
I usually use the ones I described. But in the beginning, I used to use the psychometry.
Yeah. I think
Also,
either
crystals help too, though.
Yes. Crystals is another tool to kind of get closer and more in tune.
It just makes things a little bit louder and clearer,
Yes.
right? If you hold it
Yes.
in your left hand,
Yes.
your non-dominant hand. So if you're
Yes.
left-handed, you'd hold it in your right hand.
That would be me.
Then it helps you. It helps the vibration come in stronger.
Yes. Now, would you recommend a certain crystal for that, or do you feel like any crystals?
I use clear quartz for that.
Yep, for clear information.
Yeah.
That would make sense.
I've always used clear
Absolutely.
quartz for that. Yeah.
And I believe clear quartz also helps to just cleanse your aura too, so you're clean,
Does.
clear channels. So if you have absolutely clean, clear energy, obviously the information will be cleaner and clearer too. If,
It will, yep.
you know, absolutely.
Or, another technique too, and this is a little bit off subject, is if you have anxiety. Sometimes I'm doing readings from home. So, I have a family. Things are going on. I don't have maybe enough time to prepare as if I went to my office
Right.
where there's no one at. As if you take a large crystal and put it on your stomach, it clears any kind of anxiety or anything that's not in balance out of you.
It makes sense too, because again, the solar plexus chakra is kind of like the center where everything comes together. The higher chakras, the lower chakras, and chakras means energy centers, and I think I described that in previous episodes too. So having that, clear quartz on that center will definitely make sure you're going to be absolutely well taken care of with the lower chakras, but also with the higher
With the
ones.
higher chakras. So your solar plex, she's talking about the centers. The solar plex is a yellow, it's like a yellow circle energy in the middle of your stomach.
Yes.
So
I always say if that's off, if somebody has issues with that energy, everything is literally off. Because again, that's where everything comes together. And you want to make sure that energy is absolutely well balanced.
perfect. Yeah, that's the center. That's the central chakra.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So we have, talking about psychic senses, crystals, chakras. Let's talk a little bit about manifesting, just to kind of give it a little bit, a
little
change.
twist on things.
Yes,
Sure.
absolutely. So yeah, I'm a big fan in manifesting energies, situations, anything I need, I give it up to a higher source and then let them decide what's in my highest good. And I was just a little bit curious, as a medium intuitive, how do you work with manifesting, or how does it work for you?
Okay. Well, usually when I ask for something, I always end it in my highest good, because sometimes we think we know what's in our highest good and we do not.
Yeah.
So I always end it in that. So one way for manifesting is you could do a vision board. Vision boards are fun.
Yep.
You have to be very specific though. I put an in-ground pool in my backyard with something that looked like my son from the back jumping in. So that would represent grandchildren. And as soon as that pool was done,
You got your grandchild.
there's the grandson. Yep,
I
it's a
like
boy.
it.
It's grandson.
Congratulations.
They were a little bit on the younger side, but that's okay. I wasn't specific. So, you have to be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, clear intentions.
Clean, clear intentions, definitely.
Yeah.
When we go into that spacey mode where we're not really fully here,
Right.
that's a great place to manifest. And when I was
Right.
younger, probably 25 years ago, I used to just sit there and space out and see this little boy and this little girl running this big flat backyard. And I'd be like, what am I doing? I have two boys.
Right.
Never planned on having any other children. I
Right.
already had two. They were older, and sure enough, that little boy and that little girl, one day I looked outside and they were running in that big flat backyard, and I said, oh my gosh, because I did it a few times. And the third time I was like, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, why do you keep on doing this?
Not being even conscious of
Not
what
even
you're
being
sending out.
conscious of manifesting.
I know,
But that's the best, one of a good places, and when you're in that really relaxed zone,
Right.
you can just go and visualize what you want.
Right. I think there's definitely that no ego attached at that moment, right? Because you're not going to go overanalyze it. You're not going to think, well, what would be in my highest good right now?
You're not.
You'll just kind of be, and then let
it take over.
Let it unfold at that moment,
Because like I said, we don't know what's in our highest good. And
No.
obviously, my highest good called for 2 more children, which I was not planning on having. So
2 more. Let's do that.
yeah, I have
like
some more
that.
lessons maybe.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. I always I did this many years back. So I remember coming up from work, and I have my office in my house downstairs, so it's like separated between my personal and business. And I came upstairs, and I was tired, exhausted. I had a lot of work, a lot of one-on-one readings and events I did at that moment or at that time. And I came upstairs, and I said to my husband, "We need a vacation." And he's like, "Vacation with what? Buttons? We're not going anywhere." I'm like, all right, let's see.
Yeah.
So I went to bed, and that's, again, I do that when I go to bed. I kind of like close my day. We kind of just calling in angels and guides, and then just reflecting on the day, and maybe also putting in what I would like to attract at that moment. Because I love falling asleep and then just see what unfolds the next day. I don't want to overanalyze it throughout the day if I do it in the morning, right? So I went to bed, did my little routine, and even woke up my husband, and I told him I asked for a vacation, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, we're not going anywhere." And I remember specifically asking for at least 5 days, has to be somewhere warm. It was March, it was cold. I'm not a fan of the cold, so I needed like a change of scenery.
You needed warm.
At that time, my kids were very little, so I told them, make sure we travel at night. I don't want to travel during the day and then have like tired kids. It has to be affordable. Clearly, we had no money. We couldn't go anywhere, according to my husband, And and if it comes from an outside source, make sure it's absolutely in their highest good too. And the next day, I got up, and around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, the phone was ringing. My mother-in-law was on the phone, and she's like, "Want to go on a vacation?" And I was like, "Sure. How much does it cost me?" And she goes, "Nothing." I'm like, "Well, that would be the affordable."
We can afford that, yes.
Yep. And then she said something. I said, "Where are we going?" And she goes, "Florida." I'm like, "Well, that would be the warmth, right?" And I said, "Well, let me double check with my husband because I want to make sure he's okay. I will go, but he might not be ready for it."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "So, Han, would you like to go on a vacation?" And he's like, "With whom and how?" So I explained everything, and he goes, "Sure, I'm in." And we ended up going on a 5-day all-inclusive Disney vacation.
Wow.
The only thing I actually wasn't specific about, I said family, and I literally had to go on vacation with my mother-in-law, father-in-law, brother-in-law, everyone. But it also worked out great because, I don't like Disney too much. It's too much energy for me.
Yeah.
So my husband and I stayed back, and they took the kids. So we had quality time, plus whatever the kids needed. So it was absolutely in the highest good of everyone involved. And we still to this day talk about this because he's like, "I never thought this would actually happen." How can you just put that out there and just manifest on that?
Because you were crystal clear.
Absolutely.
You needed a vacation.
I remember my mother-in-law actually called me up because she had to call she went to the travel agency to book the trip. And she called me up, and she goes, first she said, "We're only going for 4 days." And I'm thinking for myself, but I asked for 5, right? So she called me up at the travel agency, and she said to me, "We have a problem. Would you be willing to go to 5 days?" And I'm like, "Sure." And she goes, "Yeah, I get
If you insist.
I get a day discounted or for free. So we would love to add another day." And I'm like, That's kind of like what I asked for, right?
That's what if you insist, we can make another try.
Right. I always say manifesting is such an awesome tool if you know how. But as much as you can do it in a positive way, obviously you can actually attract anything in a negative way too if you're not aware how to put it out there, right?
Yeah.
And I think I firmly believe sometimes when I sit with clients and they're reoccurring clients, and it's always the same kind of like memo, not very positive, not very uplifting. And I wonder at times if they're just holding themselves in a mindset that's really negative, and it kind of like just attracts always kind of like the same kind of like outcomes.
I think that happens, but I also think when clients come to you for a reading, they are in a challenging spot.
True.
They need guidance because they're in, they're in a challenging area of their lives, and they need some guidance. They want to walk away feeling, okay, I got this.
Right.
So we do see a lot of and sometimes they just come for fun, and that's the fun readings. But a lot of times it's they're in transition.
I would say 99% it is in transition.
Yeah,
it's definitely very help with grieving, very help with confidence, motivation, and then definitely trying to get them to be more confident about life in general at that moment.
And trying to get them out of that negative mindset. There's tools to get them out of that negative mindset. So you think of something negative, just like try to erase it, whether you're seeing it on a board and you erase it and you replace it with something positive that you want. There's little tools we give along the way to help them out.
Absolutely, yes, yeah. I think a good reader would always be, motivating, definitely somebody that makes you feel peaceful, somebody that gives you tools and ideas how to change certain things around. Again, it's your free will if you want to choose that. Somebody that can listen.
And somebody that's not judgmental.
Yes.
We're not, you know what I mean? There's
completely
no judgment.
Neutral.
Because we all have our hardships. We've all signed up for challenges.
Absolutely.
So some of us sign up for more challenges than others.
Absolutely. Yes. And always coming from a space, at least for me, when I go into a session, it's always, how can I help you? That's my main intention. How can I be of service to you? It's not about me and showing off what I can do. It's about meeting you on your level and then trying to figure out how can I improve your life at this moment. So,
because we want them to walk away feeling empowered.
Absolutely.
If you ever walk away not feeling
scared,
empowered,
anxious,
fear-based, don't go back. It doesn't matter.
Might want to reconsider that reader.
You might want to reconsider, or even any situation. If you walk away, go and see a lawyer for some reason, you walk away, you're not feeling better when you leave.
Right.
That's a sign that that person's not for you.
Absolutely, especially if you find like self-doubt or any kind of like not feeling good enough afterwards. You want to make sure like you're going to listen to that feeling, you're going to listen to how you feel and ask yourself, what do you deserve? And then follow up with that.
That's right.
Right?
Because there are readers out there that aren't as ethical than others.
Right. And I'm not saying, I don't think we want to say they don't have any talents or gifts.
No, we don't want to say that.
They do have them. They might not know how to use them in a proper way, so it's going to be adjusted to their client at that moment.
Yeah.
Right. I think I think as a reader we have such responsibilities comes to serving any kind of clients, because one word, one wrong sentence could make it or break it at that moment. And to know how to interact and level on their level and making sure they can hear us, but also in a more peaceful and
positive way,
uplifting way is huge in our profession.
It is.
So now comes to your mediumship, intuitive work. Where do you do them from?
So I have an office in Westerly, Westerly, Rhode Island. It's across from the Wilcox Park. So I do Reiki. I've been a Reiki master for 20 years. I don't even remember how long. It's been a long time. I obviously do readings, and then at my house I have a saltwater pool, so we do floating crystal bowl meditations.
That's kind of cool.
And they're sound. So it's crystal bowls, but it might be a gong too, or maybe somebody's drumming. So when you're floating on a raft, you can go into that meditative state so much more easier. So you can relax, you can let go, you can get in balance a lot easier.
Right.
And then the salt water is very healing, especially for emotion.
Yes.
And the salt water is extremely healing. So, it's a win-win.
Very nice.
And it's nice. So we do like a 2-hour session, and they come in and they get acclimated for about a half hour. And then we do the meditation, which is about an hour, and then they have a half hour afterwards, because some people might want to come right out of meditation, and some people want to stay in that meditative state,
Right.
so for a little while longer. So it's a
cool.
kind of a 2-hour
Very cool.
meditation.
Now, if viewers want to get in touch with you, how do they connect with you? Do you have a website?
I don't. Electronics don't work very well for me, and they don't work very well for a lot of people that do our work.
Yes.
On the way here, it was very challenging with my GPS.
Yes.
So I don't do electronics. So I just have them call me at 401-741-8269, or text, or you can get in touch with me on Facebook, Lois Williams.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Do you have any future plans? Anything for the future?
I'm just kind of letting spirit
Unfold.
take over, because I'm not in charge.
Right.
I think
I
I've
said
learned
the same thing
I've learned
when I
that.
was a guest.
yeah. I am not in charge.
Plans are very hard for me. It seems to me a very hard thing to grasp. Just kind of like be and see what unfolds.
I just go where they lead me. I don't ever look for work. I just whoever comes.
Right.
And I go wherever you tell me to. Sometimes I'm doing elderly care. Sometimes, but I need to be in that situation for that family.
Right.
To help the family heal. If it's
Yep.
they're going to cross,
I love
they
that.
need tools, and I'm good at helping them cross. So I just kind of go wherever.
Wherever spirit leads you. I
I'm
love
led.
that. I
I'm
love
good
that.
at following.
Love that. Well, it was so nice having you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining me. And yes, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for watching. Until next time.